Welcome back. It's the season 4 premiere of Serious and Silly with Scott and Sheila. Sheila is off this week, but we start season 4 with a wonderful guest. He played 8 seasons in the CFL, 6 with your Montreal Alouettes. He's a CFL All-Star, 2-time Grey Cup champion. And on this Bell Let's Talk Day, he is here to talk to us about his struggles with mental health. He started a wonderful organization called Wellman, which we will definitely speak to him about. He is also a Bell Let's Talk ambassador. His name is Shea Emry, and we welcome him to Champlain College.
How you guys doing? Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
We are great, Shea. And again, thank you so much for joining us. One of my favorite CFL players of all time, and just so happy that you're here to share your experience. And speaking of experiences, a big date coming up for a lot of our student athletes. March 1st is the deadline to apply to college, and you had a unique college experience. You played 3 years at East Washington and 1 year at UBC, so you got to play both in the NCAA and U Sport, which is a big discussion, especially in Quebec, about which is the better path. So can you talk to us about your path and give us a little bit of, what thought process you went into to choosing where you went?
Yeah, well, I was born and raised in Vancouver, and in BC we play the American style. So we play 4 downs. I played quarterback in high school, a little bit of defense, and then my high school football coach was actually an American who had played at Eastern Washington. And so, long story short, I had a nice little track to go there, and there were a few folks before me. One guy that went to LSU, another guy that went to Washington State. So I kind of had already seen the track in front of me that was set, and always knew that I wanted to, have big goals and big dreams and go after them. Uh, Long story short, went down to Eastern Washington, moved to the defensive side of the ball, started playing linebacker, and really got taught the game and how to play it well. But experienced my first deep bout with depression. I was away from home, I was away from my friends, and I was really just kind of going down a track I didn't really feel comfortable with. I didn't know what was happening. Definitely mental health, depression, taking care of your emotions and your feelings was not within the rhetoric of, the masculinity conversation, that's for sure. Um, yeah, and then transferred back, went back to UBC in Vancouver, and got drafted to the Montreal Alouettes. Thank the Lord, and really got blessed with an amazing position. Anthony Calvillo was in the prime of his career, and we had a great base, and we just kept on adding great pieces to the puzzle and great coaches, and it was a good recipe for those 2 Grey Cups, and really that was kind of the process for me to figure out where I was going and what I was doing was I was always setting these goals and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and when I was down at Eastern, I was like, this is a good spot, but personally I just wasn't doing well, and I needed to make a decision for my own health and well-being that was okay. My coaches were like, okay, NFL this, NFL this, and I was like, I am not well, and I made up a story, and I was like, I gotta get out of here. And I went home, and I was starting at the time. I was starting middle linebacker. My first game ever was in front of 65,000 people at West Virginia. Second game was at Oregon State in front of 40,000, and was having a blast. And started. My first 2 games starting in college were like, the big stage. It was fun. But anyways, long story short, moved back to UBC and really found a core group of friends and was close to my family and was taking care of, this and this. And I, that was really the most important part for me to, just to stay happy and to stay healthy and to battle my battle with depression that I've been fighting, pretty much ever since.
So like you said, 8 years in the CFL, 6 with the Alouettes, and 6 of the glory years. Unfortunately, your quarterback position didn't work out because Anthony was there, but you were known as one of the hardest working players in the CFL. One of the hardest working, one of the most intense. What was it like? You have this dream from childhood. What was it like to finally be able to live out your childhood dream of playing professional football?
Well, it gives me goosebumps. You telling me about hard work and everything. That's really the backbone. What I have been taught since a young kid was just show up and do the work. And that was a big part of our ethos as a team was, get to the ball and, just make yourself be seen on tape and, try and establish consistently establish um, how hard you work and how you show up. And, when I was able to have the opportunity to get a scholarship, I was like, okay, that's a cool new level.
Yeah.
And that was a dream and that was a goal. And I saw these, these people, these older football players that are the years in front of me getting these big scholarships. And, that was my whole world was like football and sports and just kind of being a part of that environment. And, when I got that opportunity, I was on the top of the world. And obviously with my decision to come home, there was a little bit of shame and I was just trying to figure out how that made me feel and my perspective of what everyone else thought of me. And, obviously that plays a large role in anxiety and depression and your relationship with other people's opinions. And luckily I was staying healthy. I was, working hard and doing what I could to make it to that next level because I saw other individuals and I had conversations about pro football and the NFL and the CFL and made it into the draft. And like I said, got blessed with a great situation in Montreal. I've never been there before, but when people told me, "Oh, you got drafted by Montreal," every single person's face just lit up like, "Wow!" Like so awesome. And I was like, "Cool!" Like, what's it like over there? And there were a few guys that I went to high school with that had gone and played football at McGill, and so I kind of already had like a crew of people over there. And then when it came to playing the game and really getting comfortable and then realizing that I was becoming a leader on the team and that I was like really blossoming into, who I always knew I was able to become. That was really the point where, when we won that Grey Cup in 2009 after losing in 2008, I just had this moment with my dad, who's, he was a college football player as well, and my mom, both, athletes of their own sort. It was just one of those moments where I was like, dude, like we've did it. We've
Yeah.
made it to this point where like, we had such a process to get to the point and, they were very involved in my upbringing and my coaching and my training and everything. But it was like, I always knew I was going to play football because like, I had uncles and cousins and, at my high school, like my dad had coached there, my uncles had gone there, my grandfather's last name was O'Leary, and we were the Fighting Irish. So I was like, kind of knew what I was doing, right? Um, and be able to kind of get to that point and then do it again. I was just living and just just so grateful for that time. It taught me so much about what I could get to, right? And fast forwarding 10, 14 years now, something like that. Like the things that I've had to go through, whether it be my mental health battles, or just issues, or just like minuscule things that happen in a day. It was always reflecting on my time and on the football field and within the environment of a football locker room, working with all these different people that taught me, you can get through this with because you've learned this about how you navigate this conversation or how you navigate this difficulty. And that's why I think sports and community and being involved in something that's bigger than yourself was so important for me to, take what I learned on, in the realm of football and transfer it into, the multitude of things I've done after football.
Yeah, I think Shawn Mayne will take that clip and play it for all his players because I think you wrapped up everything perfectly of what it takes to be a high level athlete. So speaking of Shawn, that's my segue.
Yeah.
Shawn Mayne, our wonderful football coach here at Champlain. You were able to play a couple of seasons with him. Do you have any good stories, or can you tell us about what Shawn was like as a teammate?
Yeah, you asked me that question, and I was like, that was a long time ago, man. And, but I think the thing I always remember about Coach Mayne is, he was always a positive guy, and he was always interested in being around the crew and being a part of, that culture that we were trying to create of accountability and really showing up and doing the work. And it was always, and when I think back, it's always positive, and I'm super glad that he's in the line of work that he's in because that sort of mindset and and that energy is for me, when I was a player, was the most important thing when it came to, you know, playing for the coach. Was, you know, there's an established understanding of how we want to react to, you know, adversity, but also how we want to just navigate day to day and just be a part of the team, the family that is all trying to accomplish this goal. And you know, Shawn was a big part of that, and I'm, you know, super grateful we had our time together.
Yeah, when I asked him about you, he just said, great dude," he said. So yeah, I'm super happy that you guys got a chance to play with each other. So, like I told you, our friend Sheila, who is not able to make it this week, but she sent me a question. Sheila's a wonderful person, but she's also, you know, a little bit of a pacifist. So she wants to know, Shay, and I don't think she knows how intense you played the game, but she'd like to know if you ever felt bad about hitting someone hard.
Yeah, I don't think she watched so much football, did she?
No, no,
um,
no.
you know, I think one of the things that I'll, you know, quickly tell you this story. So I was always internally dealing with a lot of anger, right? And that's why I think I excelled at being a middle linebacker in specific, because I played angry, um, but I was always kind of, you know, reserved in preparation and delegation of tasks and lining up. But I was voted twice as the nastiest player in the CFL,
Yes.
which was voted by my peers, all the other players, and uh, I was super proud of that. You know, I would try and do everything that I could to get that person off their game. I wasn't the fastest or the biggest or the strongest or the most talented, but I, you know, again, I showed up, I did the work, I made sure my team was, you know, aligned properly. But I instilled this mindset of hatred towards the other team, and I wanted to go out there and assert my physicality against. That was my job, and I I got known to be this this nasty player, and then I kind of got to the point where I was like, well, I don't know if this is going to go very well off the field. You know, I don't ride motorcycles, so that's not going to work. So basically, you know, I pivoted my mindset towards community, and that's where I started the organization called Wellman, and it was really about, you know, trying to like pivot my personality, pivot my approach to the anger, my approach to the healing that I know that I already needed, and take all that, you know, frustration and angst and stress that I put on my body, and now turn it into self love and turn it into community, and just really like emitting this radiance of this, you know, this formidable aura, but more so about like being steady and being there and being present, and knowing that like the shoulders are strong, that sort of vibe. So, yeah.
No, it's amazing. Yeah. Uh, I want to ask people just to give me 2 seconds just to talk to you about the 2009 Grey Cup
All
because
right.
I remember it like it was yesterday. Uh, in my living room, watching. The Alouettes had lost in 2008. We had lost to Doug Flutie. We had lost to Hamilton a few times. So Damon Duval, and I didn't have to look this up. I remember it vividly. Getting ready for a kick. He kicks it. You can tell it's off right away. The Alouettes are about to lose the game, and two flags go up. Where were you when that happened, and what were you thinking?
Well, I was on the sideline, and I wasn't on the field goal team at that point in time. But I just remember all the flags went up pre-snap, right? So there was there was an issue, right? So as soon as the ball was snapped, there was a flag. So it could have been an alignment issue, but there was a couple of things. I was like, it ain't like there's chance, right? That's kind of what went through my head. I was like, hold up, like what's up, like happening here? And you know, everyone was kind of like just waiting, and obviously, you know, you've probably seen the videos of what was happening on the other sideline and in the stands, and but you got to pay attention. And the thing that I always say, you know, and I retired in Saskatchewan. You know, Paul Waldo, who's the godfather of my son, he's a rider for 4 years after he played with us. I always say, like, you got to play by the rules. You know, you got to play the game. And
He loves that, eh?
right, and like, you know, you had 12 people at the line of scrimmage. You could have blocked it and blah 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 and whatever. And it's like, you know, that it makes a difference. You got to play the game. And I think the only thing that really matters in the conversation there is that, there was like, quote unquote, an asterisk above our 2009 Grey Cup. I didn't think there was. I don't think there was, because we came back by 16 down. It was like a huge team effort, crucial plays down the stretch, like unbelievable football by our team, and we won back to back against the same team. So it's like, well, I mean, come on, bro. It
Yeah.
doesn't really make a difference at that point, does it? But I think the one thing about, and again, talking about leadership and talking about, kind of showing up and doing the work is, I've always been like a leader that, or even a role player that I take a lot in, right? I take my time to kind of soak up the situation, the landscape, the environment, whether it's a new business venture, what have you. I'm going to sit there and I'm kind of figure out what the dynamic is. And 2008 was playing on special teams. 2009 started on defense, got my shot, and started playing well and had a fun, great time. Um, and then we were losing by a bunch in the
Yep.
Grey Cup, and we had lost the year before, and again there was like this culture of losing in the big one, and and I went nuts at halftime in the locker room, and there was a bunch of shanked kicks, and I just looked at AC and he was deflated, and if you ever get a chance to talk to him, you can ask him about this. I know he'll say something, and I just basically straight up I said, like, this is not happening. What's going on here, right? And like it was the first time, like I was 23 at the time, and those guys that played all in the NFL and big college teams, and they're big American schools and all this. I'm this Canadian dude, and I'm like, yo guys, like, and it was the time that I stood up and I asserted myself, and I was like, this needs to be said. This needs to be. We gotta switch the game up here. We cannot go down this road. And then we came back in the second half, and I remember AC said something about, like, the speech that I made really like lit the fire under the guys, and that really gave me so much confidence as a young leader to speak my mind when it's appropriate and when it's needed, and that's daily for me at this point. Right now, it's like, okay, I got to talk myself into producing this product or making sure I show up in this way, and being in integrity and authenticity, and acknowledging when I'm not there and where I can't be there because I'm not doing well, and that's okay as well too. And that's really where I've learned so much about football, and even in those moments, that has really carried me through the rest of my life.
Thank you so much. So, like I said, this will air on the Let's Talk Day. You've touched briefly on your struggle with mental health, and you kind of said in an interview that football was kind of the thing that maybe kept your mental health up, and you ended your career with the Argonauts. You had a major concussion, and then football wasn't there anymore. Can you talk to us a little bit about post-life football and how those demons started sinking in again?
Yeah, I think. Well, thank you for the question. I think my relationship with mental health has been my incessant daily perspective on who I am and how I'm showing up. And again, I mentioned the opinions of others, and I'm a pleaser. Like, I'm trying to make sure that everyone's happy and having a good time. I'm in the events and experiences business, so like I want, like, come on guys, like, I own a restaurant. I have a couple different tourism options here, and my transition was very difficult, right? And not only was it because of, like, physically I was intact, like I only had one surgery my entire 20-year football career,
Wow.
and it was on my scaphoid, my smallest bone in my body, right? And I think the one thing that stands out from my own battle with mental health is that it's the language, your approach, your routine, how disciplined you are, not being hard on yourself. There's so many different, like, really, really small things that if they become a habit in who you are, you can ride those waves, right? And even saying I battle depression, it's like it's a fight. Why are you having to fight something, right? Opposed to kind of like re-articulating it as my approach to my health and I've been going through this, and I've been really working on myself in this way, and just really understanding like I have a lot of bad days, right? I have a lot on my shoulders, and a lot of people I work with that are relying on me. My family, I have two children, and I'm striving for more. I want another cup, right? I just want more Grey Cups, right? And when you have a failing season, or you're not going as fast as you think you can, or you think you want, or something happens, like you own a festival and events business and COVID completely obliterates your entire business, or you own a restaurant and you have to shut down, like basically my entire life stopped. And I had to navigate it, and to be honest with you, I didn't navigate it well at all. And I have, in retrospect, I have these conversations with the people that I didn't handle it well with, and I'm honest with them. I just told them I flopped, right? I didn't,
Hmm.
I got trucked on that play, and I needed time out. It's like, okay, can someone sub me out? And that's difficult for me, because like you said, I always want to be that hard worker. I always want to show up. I want to be on the field, and when I can't, you know, do the things I say that I'm going to do, or produce the way that I've always known to be producing, um, it's hard on you. And that transition is, like I said, it's been very difficult. But what I learned from my life in sport has really taught me how to approach and these conversations with humility, with authenticity, and really just owning my own human experience. But the only thing that matters is how I actually ventilate and manage my day to day emotions and my
Yeah.
day to day ups and downs, and just like, my foundation. And I'm sure the majority of the people that are going to watch this probably follow The Rock on Instagram. Okay. And fitness for me has always been like that as well. But, if I'm being detrimental to, and I'm being a saboteur to my own self, and that's really that's my trigger, is like I'm always trying to hurt myself in that regard, of like I'm getting in my own way by procrastinating, by not working out, by eating crap. And now it's about, okay, like let's be okay with having a cheat day. Let's be okay with having a night with the friends and whatever. But like come back to your routine. Come back to your, Monday morning I have this class and this fitness and this that, and this project that I'm working on, and like have a good weekend, but come back ready to work. And that's what every day is right now, is like coming back and really preparing for whatever's going to happen, whatever waves are going to crash over my head once I walk outside that door. Open this thing up, right?
Yeah. Thank you so much for being open and honest. I think that's one of the great things is people look at Shea Emry and, big, strong football player, and how can this guy suffer from depression? He's just this big,
Mhm.
strong man. And that's kind of what we learned growing up, that, um, but not only are you open about your feelings and honest about what you talk about, but we mentioned you started the Wellman organization. Can you tell us a little bit about that and their goals and objectives?
Yeah, and so Wellman was started initially as a mental health initiative, okay, and directly geared towards men of the alpha nature. And really, because when I was going through my transition out of sport and trying to figure out who I was outside the lines, um, this is what I needed. I needed a space that was safe to have no phone on me, to get on the yoga mat, to reassess what I'm putting in my body from a food standpoint and an alcohol standpoint, what have you, and really just understand that, again, that approach to my own human experience and how I ventilate that, the ups and downs, is it was really, what I was lacking, what I was missing with like that tunnel vision focus on sport. And, when I, figured out that I was going to be stepping away at some point, I realized that I needed a community. I realized that I needed, the language to navigate that conversation within my mental health aspects, as well as, who am I? Like, what do I like to do? What do I
Yeah.
want to spend my time doing? And so we focused on, food, fire, and fun. And it was like, we're going out, we're chucking axes, we're building the fire, we're making the food on the fire, and then we're gonna do this like really loud, like yell practice and just like get it off your chest. And had no clue what I was doing, but it's led me for the last 10 years into like, the whole Bell Let's Talk spokesmanship and being a part of a lot of different organizations. I've been an advocate for mental health and really just trying to get people to get out and get actionable, do something. Like, what's your program? What's your morning like? And just ask simple questions, tell my story. And, Wellman, we've done 30 adventures across the country with, 10 to 30 dudes. And it's just about being a good dude and, having conversations about their human experiences and getting them to try and find what they're truly into. And ask that one question is like, what's that one thing that you could do or you could add into your life that's just going to give you a little bit more purpose, a little bit more clarity, and really, launch you on that daily trajectory to, a happier, healthier individual.
I'm just going to, you mentioned one of the things was axe throws, and I'm just going to screen share you with, this is Sheila and I, we did some axe throwing, and since you asked, yes, I did win the axe throwing competition with Sheila. Usually I don't like to brag about this, Shea, because I'm a very humble person, but since you asked and we just met, yes, I did beat Sheila. I'm sorry.
All right, cool. That's good. That was my next question. So while you are on there, I've been throwing axes basically since 2013. We were doing the logger sports axes, and then axe throwing kind of like absolutely went bonkers in Canada. And I was a part of that. I was the first provider here in BC, and now I think there's probably like 15 to 20. But it's everywhere. Everyone knows what axe throwing is. Okay, but the next frontier. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now. I started a snowball fight experience. Okay, so it's basically paintball with snowballs.
Amazing.
Okay? So think of capture the flag, dodgeball. We do the gauntlet. We have target range. And we make all the snowballs. So we're probably up to about 200,000 snowballs at this point over the last 2 years. And
all handmade by you?
Handmade, artisan snowballs. Okay.
Okay, good.
But we're, basically, again, when that question was asked, okay, what are you into? What do you want to, do next? I was like, I want to play. Like, I want to have fun. I want to be a kid. I've spent so much time, being structured and a football player and sacrificing weddings and birthdays and bachelor parties and, X, Y, and Z. And now I want to be a part of it. I want to throw the party. I want to be a part of it. And what can I do? Started throwing axes, and I just thought, okay, what's next? And I came up with, it's called Avalanche. And basically, it's a paintball style snowball fight, and it's the best hucking time, man. It's a good time.
That sounds super cool. I want to finish it up with this question. We recently got to interview Ryan O'Callahan, who's an ex-NFL player who came out after his career. And the thing he taught us was that words really matter. And I just wanted to get your perspective on, what young Shea Emry heard about mental health. And, obviously you've come a long way, but was it something, and you notice I name dropped, segued, and self-promoted all in a 5-second span. So what were your thoughts on mental health growing up? Were they the same as the stigma of that football players are tough? They're not depressed.
Didn't know what it was.
Okay.
Wasn't a conversation, right? And, that's why I'm so proud to be a part of the Bell Let's Talk team, because they've started the conversation, right? Long time ago. And so many people have added value in so many different organizations, ones that I've been a part of and ones that I've seen from afar be created. But the conversation, the fuel has been put on the fire that needed to, burn down the whole conversation around mental health and the stigma around, the language that we used to use around people dealing with their own human experience, like I said. And, for me, the language was creating barriers, right? It was mental health, emotion, expression, like all these things that from an alpha male's perspective, I was like, no, I can't do that. When really, if you just change it to ventilate and to human experience and to, it's just a completely different, I'm like, yeah, well, I'm experiencing that too. And
Yeah.
oh yeah, I need to go out and chop wood and like and run or do whatever it is that I need to do to escape and to get through it. And that's really where with Wellman, I started as a mental health initiative and moved to a men's adventure club. And the change, it created an entirely new business for me, the axe throwing business. But really, the foundation is all about bringing people together, breaking down those limiting beliefs. Like axe throwing, people come, probably had it yourself. Oh, I'm going to hurt someone, or this is going to happen. I'm going to suck. I'm going to fail in front of all these people. When really, and like I've had this conversation like literally 1,000 times. I know you probably think that's going to happen. I'm just going to let you know exactly why I do this. It's because I'm trying to get you in 2 minutes to be taking a selfie, having fun, because we broke that barrier, that thought process right now. And so that's the foundation of what I do and why I do it, because I'm trying to get people to get through that and be a part of the process, because I find joy in that, right? And I think that we all need to go out and find a little bit more purpose and joy in what we do, and again, just do what it is that you want to do, that you can find is going to help you get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a great time beating Sheila in axe throwing. I don't know if that's what you were getting at, but
Yeah,
I'm just trying to pick up on your vibe, and
yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned that. In fact, I did beat Sheila at axe
It's
throwing.
unfortunate that she's not here to defend herself, though, because you know what? You could be making the whole story up.
The great thing about this, Shea Emry, check out his website at wellmen.org. You can follow him on Instagram at Shea Emry. Thank you so much for what you're doing. I think it's invaluable to, like you said, continue the conversation, and that's what I hope we did today. So
Hmm.
um, we'll end it with what's the what advice can you give someone? Because, still the vast majority of us are not going to struggle with mental health. So what advice can you give someone if a friend of theirs or a family member is struggling with mental health? What can you do to support them?
Um, I get asked that question a lot, and you know, uh, in the last 4 months, I know 3 people that have taken their lives. Right? It's a friend's dad, um, an old mate from back in the day, and I'm just if you don't have the conversation, if we don't get to that point, then people aren't going to be open to it, and just be be transparent with how you're doing. Always be open to the conversation, but really, uh, what I've noticed is that if people are not willing to have the conversation, it's very difficult to crack that code. So just be around, be positive, be inclusive, and really just understand, like, let's normalize this conversation as we've talked about, and that's the way that we can, you know, just slowly but surely get into the depths of those emotions, and we can get them out, and we can have those conversations, and we can get more people help, and more services will be created, because people are open to having that conversation, and really giving back to the people that they love.
Amazing. Yeah. And just continue the conversation. And the more Shea Emrys we have, you know, I'm not sure you've been at it long enough to realize, a professional football player, what kind of weight that holds. If Shea Emry can talk about it, then, I can talk about it too. So just thank you so much for all the work you did, and continuous success, and all the best in 2022. And thanks for joining us, Shea.
Much gratitude. Enjoy, everyone. We'll talk soon.